Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's MMA Huddle. It is the festive time of year. Everyone's having Christmas cheer. You've opened your presents possibly and drinking mulled wine and having mince pies, or if in the US, eggnog. I think eggnog is that American or is that a British thing? I don't know.
No, it's American.
Is it American? Yeah. We're just mulled wine. Well, I don't know about you, Miss. I'm a mince cider. Yeah, cider. Yeah. I'm a mince pie man myself. A cup of tea and a mince, about 15 to 16 mince pies will do me. It's a good cup of tea to mince pie ratio. Ladies and gentlemen, so thank you for joining us during this festive period. Could you please hit that subscribe button below if you're a fan of MMA predictions, MMA in general, and also don't forget we will be doing interviews and throwing them out there. I have done a reduction in interviews of late due to the fact that Skype is horrendously unreliable, so trying to get something sorted out in the meantime. But I am going to make a bit of an effort, Will, to get more content out next year. So me and Will got some little ideas that we're spewing as well. So fingers crossed next year I can start pumping out even more interviews for you all. And Will, how is the festive period treating you with work?
It was horrible. This from the start of December, pretty much to last night. Horrific, long hours, not been able to do anything at all. But now it's kind of out the road. I'm back in 27th, I want to say. I'm back, might even be Boxing Day. But no, I'm glad it's out the road. I'm looking forward to Christmas. I'm looking forward to my little one because she's trying to destroy the Christmas tree so she can destroy her presents by opening them in a couple of days' time or 1 day's time, whenever it is. But no, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to finishing off the kind of MMA year with a huge rematch that a lot of people have been waiting for since the first fight happened 5 years ago. So I'm looking forward to talking about this fight card. It's a good fight card as well. It's a really good one to finish the year on.
I tell you what, you made me feel really old then when you said 5 years ago that fight.
Crazy. It's crazy.
Oh man, I can't. It doesn't feel like it was that long ago. But no. Oh my word, I remember just being blown away when Jones and Gus fought last time. It was one of those. I think that it's one of those fights that will easily live on as one of the best fights I've seen in not just UFC, just MMA in general. Yep. So yeah, like you said, it's a great card. We're going to start at the bottom, ladies and gentlemen, work our way up. As I said before, subscribe, but also if you want to follow us on social media, Twitter, really simple. Just type in MMA Huddle on any social media platform. We'll pop up there. Give us a follow and throw messages at any time to us, and we're happy to chat back. And you want to talk about the bets down below. Will, when he gets his bets sorted, I will post them. So
I think I've two.
Two at the moment. Okay, cool.
And I've got an eye on another two.
So when Will does, he will pop them on down there. And again, if you put any on there, send feedback. Let us know how you got on. Yeah. And again, be responsible with gambling, all right? It's not a joke. Okay, so let's start at the bottom, bro. Work our way up. We are starting down with Brian Kelleher against Montel Jackson, which was a fight that was meant to happen, which we did talk about last time, and then it got pulled. I think it's like a day after or something. We released the podcast or something like that. I can't remember now, but it's rescheduled. It's happening. Will, go ahead. Let's see what your thoughts are on this first fight.
Yeah. It's I think it was the day before the weigh-ins. I think he caught. It was the day of the weigh-ins. I think he caught an illness, which affected his cut, and obviously they wouldn't let him fight from there. I think going back, I was picking Brian Kelleher, and when I went back and just watched, when I had the time to go back and watch.
Oh, you still there, Will?
Yeah, I'm there. Yeah.
Oh gosh, I won't lie, ladies and gentlemen. That was a pretty disturbing image that froze there. I think people saw your sex face.
Oh, right. Nice. I've got many of those.
Yeah. Gosh, I thought this was not going to happen on this platform, but how dare it freeze? Okay, so go ahead about Brian Kelleher. You started watching some footage.
Yeah, I did. I started watching some fights again, and I watched the Lineker one, and the amount of damage the guy took in that fight's a lot. So maybe I don't know. Maybe it is a little bit too soon to kind of come back in. Like Jackson is a guy who's hard to kind of get ready for because he's long, and we don't really know all that much about him. He's still coming through, and there's not a hell of a lot of tape out there on him. So, not unless you go and have a good look, you'll find fights. But he's a guy that's one of these fighters that's probably going to make big improvements. I think in between fights, no matter if it's 2 months, 6 months, whatever. I think he's one of these guys that'll make big strides in his game, and I think I'm going to change my original pick from Kelleher to Jackson. I think he might just, that extra time might kind of helped him in a couple of ways, and plus I don't like Brian Kelleher's rapping. I think he's pretty garbage as a rapper. If that's an excuse like to pick against him in a fight, I think I'm going to use that one. But no, I think I'm going to pick Montel. I don't know why. I don't know why I've kind of switched on that, because I was fairly confident last time out that he was going to get the underdog win, and I thought it was going to be a fight that kind of favoured him more. But kind of the more I've watched a little bit, maybe it's just having more time to watch and seeing things a little bit clearer, maybe that I've went with Montel Jackson. So I'm going to go with Jackson, but I think Kelleher is a live dog in the fight. So, but I'll go Montel Jackson via, I think Kelleher's tough to finish, so I'll pick him via decision.
That is the thing. It is a kind of 50-50 fight in the sense of the fights that Kelleher's had, the damage he's taken. We know that, and we know what kind of fighter he is. And with Jackson's unknown entity, like what he has got, because he hasn't released everything on show. But I'm sticking with Kelleher, and the reason is because he's had a bit longer to recover. And obviously fell ill, but he's had a little bit of time for his body to recover from his last fights. And even, people may not think that maybe a week or 2 or 3 or 4 weeks makes a difference, but it's huge for the body, huge for the health. And I think that would just help him out in this fight. I think one of the things with Jackson is he probably has worked on his takedown defense, but I think if Kelleher were to balance the fight out with a bit of the combat, with the kind of aggressive striking, the high output that he can do with some takedowns, I think he can really make a difference in the point side of things. So unless Montel's done a lot of work to stop that, because I thought Montel's vulnerability to takedowns is possibly still there, I do favour Kelleher for that if the game plan's right. I'm basing some of these fights tonight on the game plans. If they were to put the game plan into place, they should come through in this manner. So I would go Kelleher win, not something overly amazing, just simple, combination, close him down, take him down, recycle that for 3 rounds. I think Jackson's, like you said, a lot of early days, not had a lot of wars. He'll be able to tough it out. I just think Kelleher could possibly just get a decision. I'll go 30-27, but it won't be like a big gap. Very tight indeed. Next, we're going to go into the welterweight division, and I'm a big fan of this dude, man. I like Curtis Millender. Sorry, I like this cat. When he came into the UFC, I thought exciting guy to watch. He's fighting Siyar. Okay, Bahadurzada. Okay, so. This is a kind of this is a bad fight for Siyar because Curtis is long, man. He fights long, dude. Like he's not like a pit bull, like Thiago Alves, where he'll fight close, nice hooks, sharp leg kicks. Like Curtis can just keep those straight kicks, straight punches, long reach, long legs, so he's got good movement with the feet. And your man, Ziyar's like he's just a powerhouse, man. But he's not a high output. He's just low volume, but he puts everything in that punch. Like he will crack everything, and he does hit heavy because he's shown it in fights where you see guys get to the 2nd and 3rd round, and you think they've not taken that much damage, but they seem to have just taken a lot of wear, and they just seem like kind of worn. But the kind of fight I think Curtis is going to have here is keeping him at range, and if it gets close, I think he might just go for a clinch. Just clinch up with him. Throw knees, attack the body. Because let's be honest, he's got a smooth midriff, which implements to me that he might be vulnerable for body strikes if people were to bother to put them in there. But I think Curtis has got it. I think Curtis has got the skill set here to win this, and he should really get the win. he could put him away as well. He could drop him and put him away. I think he could easily get a stoppage here. I'm going to go. I think because I'm going to go third round stoppage for Curtis. I think wear and tear, the front kicks, the straights. I think he's going to get a lot of it's like teeps to the stomach and like kind of flicks to the kick to midriff. I think that will take a toll on Zayah. Drop his hands, then a head kick can come or the straight punches. So I'm going to go with my boy Curtis. Third round stoppage, Will.
I think I'm going to side with Curtis as well, but I think Siyar's one of those people that he's dangerous. Like he's very low output, but he's just one of those dangerous fighters that could catch you with one clean shot and put you out on your feet. And he's one of those dudes that I forget about every time because he fights once a year and you just don't hear from him. I don't follow him on social media because he's blocked me for some reason. I actually went and had a look and he's blocked me. So I don't know. And I don't think I've ever followed the guy. So I don't know what I've been involved in there. So that was quite funny when I went and checked just in his social media just for that. So
I bet you picked someone else he was meant to fight, and then because people fight, some of these fighters are really petty. Like Megan Anderson is probably the most petty fighter. She will block anyone like that, not because they're negative about it, because even if they're constructive, she blocks them. She's blocked our podcast. She's blocked us. We didn't even have a go at her, and I'm like, she's just a petty. But there's so many petty fighters out there. They just block. It's just ridiculous. But yeah, go ahead, Will.
Yeah. So like I say, that's always funny when you come across like something like that. But like I say, always dangerous. But I like what I'm seeing from Curtis. Just his progression as a fighter. Because I think I watched him many moons ago in Bellator, and I didn't really think all too much of him back then. But since then, he's obviously kind of refined his skills a little bit. Looks a lot better fighter than he did back in the day. When he was back in Bellator and so on. And he's another dangerous fighter. I mean, he's beaten good fighters as well. Guys who are in the UFC or Kevin Holland, he beat them out in the regionals. So the guy's dangerous. He's come in, knocked out Thiago Alves in a fight which he was very dominant in and caught him with a beautiful knee. Max Griffin is dangerous. You've seen that. He's also getting better. I think if he stays really crisp on the feet and picks his shots well and doesn't get caught with a shot that Siyar, because like I say, I'm always really unsure with Siyar because he's got some big power, and if he lands on you, you know about it. But I think Curtis is going to be a little bit too long. I don't think he's going to be able to get in close to kind of really get those shots off. Now he could maybe go for a takedown. He did that in the Chagas fight. Chagas is a good win. I think he's a dangerous guy as well. So he's used to fighting very dangerous guys. With Max Griffin, I don't think he's dangerous. I think he's a well-rounded fighter, but not super dangerous where Chagas has got power, can land, very vicious leg kicks as well. I just think that Curtis could pick him apart on the feet. I think these one fights a year is not going to help Siyar, in my opinion. I think he needs to fight 2-3 times a year, keep himself fresh. One of these times, the ring rust is going to catch up with him. I think this is what's probably going to happen in this fight here. I think that Curtis is going to start landing kind of shots at distance and could potentially get a finish. I'm going to go decision though for Curtis Millender.
Okay, nice. That's why I said late round. I thought potential, but middleweight division next, Will. Uriah Hall against the new face, Bevon Lewis, who was Dana White Contender Series, jumping on board to the big time. Will, intriguing matchup, because I thought it was a surprise why you'd put Hall with him, but they see maybe something in Lewis. Hall's a perennial name to kind of have on maybe Lewis's feather, but how do you see it going down, though?
Yeah, when I was coming in to watch this one, I was like, I was pretty convinced that I thought Bevon Lewis was this was a good matchup for him, but the more I've kind of looked at it, I think this is a very tough fight to kind of make your way into the UFC. And they're doing that with the Dana White Tuesday Night Contender guys, where they're giving them tough fights and seeing where they're really at. And most of them, let's be honest, most of them are coming through and winning big, doing very well. So that's Dana shows it's unearthing this talent that we knew he's been out in the regionals, but it's come in and Dana's seen it for himself and giving them contracts. But then they're moving on to the UFC and actually winning bouts. So I think it was a couple of weeks ago, a couple of events ago, where majority of his, I think it was maybe the Australia card and the tough card. I think all the fighters that were on the Dana White.
You've went again, Will. Don't worry. You went away. You went again. So the Ultimate Fighter and the Tough Finale guys and girls, go from there, bro.
Yeah, no, it's just like I think it was a couple of weeks back or events ago. All the guys won in the show, so big thing for Dana's show coming through, and all these fighters pretty much winning fights in the UFC as well. So, but Bevon Lewis on the Dana White Contender Show, he looked phenomenal against Alton Cunningham, because Alton's actually a really good fight. I think he's won a couple of fights since then, and he's pretty dangerous himself, but Bevon Lewis gave him absolutely no room in that fight whatsoever. Hit him with a big right hand, I think it was, put him against the cage, was landing elbows. Now he comes from Jackson Winklejohn. I'm probably sure he's going to be sparring with Jon Jones, who he comes from the same camp, so I think that he's going to be primed and ready to go. And it's just with Uriah Hall, you don't know what kind of guy is going to turn up, and he's had tough fights. You can't say that. I mean, Paulo Costa is just an absolute beast. He's a guy that if anybody stands in front of him and he lands, you're in deep trouble. I thought the win over Yotko was actually a really sweet win, but he's losing to good guys. He's not losing to bad fighters. Gegard Mousasi, I think Brunson was in there as well. The champion he actually lost to as well. So the losses on his record are legit losses to good fighters. But when this guy turns up, you can see that he can beat those kind of guys. He can compete with them. I know the Mousasi one, the first fight, to be fair, he lost the first round and then he caught the big shot in the second. So maybe he can't compete with those guys up there because he's losing fights. But your Yotkos, who are fringe top 15 guys, I think he 100% can compete with if he shows up. But who knows with that guy if he's going to show up. If he shows up, he will win more fights in the UFC. I think this is a big step up for Bevon Lewis. And I was pretty all in. I was actually going to bet Bevon Lewis, and then I watched a couple of fights. I'm like, I'm not convinced with this. I kind of reined it back. And I thought there's maybe a fight Uriah Hall, if, like I say, if he turns up and fights smart and doesn't get hit with shots, I think he could win the fight. I'm actually going to go with Uriah Hall, actually. I'm going to take a stab at Uriah and see if he really needs to win, actually, because if he lost 4 of his last 5, he's lost to a Dana White guy coming through that show. It might be his kind of walking papers after that. I'll go Uriah Hall. I'll go by knockout late in the second. I'm going to go take a shot on him.
Nice. Okay. Well, I'm going with Uriah Hall too, and it feels really weird saying it. Because if there's guys at 50-50, it's hard to pick them because he is such a hot and cold guy. But the Boccacina fight, he was lighting Bocca up with that jab.
Yeah.
That jab was lightning. It was dynamite. Bocca just couldn't get any timings, couldn't get closed down, just jabbed the face off and then just circled away. It was like, yep, I'm out. The only problem Uriah Hall made in that fight was he circled to Boccacina's right hand. He circled the wrong way. So what he ended up doing was jabbing and then circled to the power hand that Bocca was thrown at him. I'm like, no. You should have went the other way, and then you probably might have got away with it. But well, apart from when he got cracked in the dick a few times. But yeah, Uriah Hall, if he does what he did against Bevon and pops that jab like he was, oh my word, he's going to wreck Bevon. He is going to wreck him. He's going to frustrate Bevon. He's going to mess up his face with the jabs, and then he's probably, like you say, going to set up a big power hand, a big power shot to finish him off with. And I hope that Uriah Hall does that, because I think that if he can show that in there, it might give him a bit of confidence boost. You know, he's an absolute twat when he's cutting weight, folks. Will knows this as well. He's a prick. So, you know, I'm sure he's a nice guy randomly once in a blue moon, maybe when there's a full moon or a total eclipse or something. But all in all, you know, if you can get that, maybe you can start to show a bit more. But yeah, I'm going to go Hall, because I think that jab, well, it sounds crazy, people, but a jab can win a fight, and that jab, if he could just bring that to the game, oh my gosh, it's going to just wreck Lewis. And I just think Lewis probably, again, jitters, the adrenaline dump might play a factor. So I'm going to go Uriah Hall. You said second. I'll go first. I'll go crazy. I'll go first round Uriah Hall.
Nice.
We're going next up. The main event of the UFC Fight Pass. That's the one. It is a fight that we were looking forward to, but then one of the guys got injured. The Fire Kid. The bloody ill kid. All right. Got injured. So instead, Nathaniel Wood has had a step in against Andrei Ewell, who beat Renan Barão, who was well overweight, which kudos to him. Andrei stepped in and still took that fight, which he didn't even need to, but I think because obviously he got his foot in the door, he didn't want to miss the opportunity, because if he said no, they might have said no, see you later. But man, what a fight this one's going to be, because I was a bit unsure about who they were going to get to step in. And I think they got a great match, a great guy for Nathaniel, a great opponent, to be honest with you. But my only thing is, I hope that Nathaniel does not fight the way he did in his first fight. Maybe jitters might have played a fight, but the taking damage thing is not something you can do and have a long career. And it's not something you can do and think you're going to get away with for a long time. Because there's guys out there who maybe don't have the perfect power, like there's this one-punch power, but they're just snipers with accuracy, and they can just land that right shot, and they can just put you away. But I hope that Nathaniel's done the work to move that head a bit more and to be a bit more cautious, move a bit more of the footwork just to evade the strikes, because you can't take one to give one. It's not a successful career. It's not going to get you far. That said, though, he's coming against Andrei, who is in himself it's an exciting talent. Andrei, he's got a lot about him, and considering how well he did against Barão, when you think about it, I think if we got anyone outside of the UFC and said to them their debut was against Renan Barão, I think first thing a lot of people would do is go, "Oh boy, say what?" And then they would probably have a bit of a mental block. It might affect their performances. I thought Andrei performed fantastic in that fight. Considering Barão missed the weight as well, it could have, statistically, a lot of the guys who miss weight just always do well. The matchup, though, I think striking-wise, it's going to be a great battle. I think Andrei offers some he got nice kicks, he's got good hands. I like everything about Andrei. I think in this fight, I don't know how good Andrei's wrestling is, but if Andrei's obviously been at high school, did well at wrestling, and his credentials are there, and nothing against us British, but what do you do when you face a Brit? Just get them on the back, just take them down. And that's where Nathaniel's probably kind of weakest point is potentially on his back. He's better on his feet than he is on his back. And I think if I'm Andrei, I'm going to try and get Nathaniel down. Probably start on the feet, see how it goes. If Nathaniel's not sorted out that head movement and still taking the shots, by all means, open up and go for him. I'm stuck on this one, if I'm honest with you, because I've got a bit of a soft spot for Nathaniel. He's a great kid, really nice lad. I'm going to go with Andrei. Decision, 29-28. And trust me, I do not enjoy saying it, but I just think he might be able to get a 50-50 battle on the striking side of things, but I think the takedowns, he could probably sneak in a couple of takedowns to get him down and get the win. But don't get me wrong, I'm rooting for Nathaniel in my heart, because he's a good kid, and I'd love to see him do well. So yeah, just picking at Andrei there, bro.
I'm going the other way. I'm completely going the other way. I was actually initially, when the fight was made, I thought for Nathaniel than probably I originally thought. But the more I've kind of watched of Nathaniel and where I think he's going as a fighter, I think that he's got more tools to just win the fight. I think he can. He's obviously at a reach and a height disadvantage. He's going to be both at disadvantages for those. I think it's 4 inches in the height and like 6 inches in the reach. So that's
Andrei's a random one for the bantamweight. Let's be honest. You won't find many guys like that. There's not a lot like that.
And like Nathaniel's not your biggest guy in the world. He's good for he's the right size, obviously, for bantamweight. But when I look at it, Ewell will use that. I think he will hit and kind of run. I don't think he'll want to stay in the pocket and brawl, because a lot of people seem to think that Nathaniel Wood is a brawler, and he's not just a brawler. He's got so many, and I think this is where people, it's maybe lucky for us because we watch Nathaniel coming up, but like people that bet on fights or something, they only watch 3 fights. So if you're going to watch his last 3 fights, you'll watch the Eduardo one. He get hit with too many shots. The James Lynch interview, he did a great interview with James Lynch. He recognised that he took far too many shots and he can't do that and keep going. The Iavini fight, before he came into the UFC, that was him being technically sniped him from a distance. The Josh Reed fight, he got into a brawl. He got hit with a shot, came through it, and then he managed to get him out a couple of minutes later. And everybody seems to think he's a brawler, and he's got that in him. He comes from the Brad Pickett stable. Brad Pickett was always down to throw hands with anybody. But he must realise he's a young kid, that he, in the UFC, that shit's not going to stick around. You can't do that in that division. You cannot be a brawler in that division and expect to go far. That's why I thought the Duquesnoy fight was great, because Duke stood there, engaged with him, and that could have been a back and forth fight. I don't think Andrei Ewell's going to want to do that. I don't think he's got that in him to stand there and brawl. So he's going to want to fight long, hit and move. But I think that Nathaniel can, I know he's at a reach disadvantage and so on, but I think he can fight technical. You go back and watch his fights before that in Bama, his early Cage Warriors one against like Steve McComb. Now, I know he's not the greatest fighter, the guy's got a losing record, but he fights long, he's sniping with his jab. McComb's coming in, trying to take him down, and he shows beautiful sprawling ability, doesn't get taken down, gets back to the feet, and then I think he snaps his arm with a high kick. Brutal. I totally forgot how brutal that was, actually. But I just think that he's got that brawling in him. If he has to use it, then if it does turn into a brawl, he's at the advantage yet, in my opinion. He does get hit with shots, he does get rocked. So that's a little bit of a concern. I think he can fight long, not fight long, I think he can fight technical and just kind of outpoint this kid. I really do. I think he can use leg kicks to kind of break him down a little bit. And I think his submission game and his grappling game is underrated, and that showed against Eduardo, because that submission was a sick submission. He got that in really, really quick. I'm still a little bit dubious to why he's never really went over to American Top Team. But when you look at the people that he's at Team Titan, obviously you've got Brad Pickett there that's going to be leading the way. But on the James Lynch interview, he was like Nathan Grayson. He's kind of one of those long kind of flyweights. Michael Dale, Dominic Wooden, who I think has been his main. He's a southpaw like Andrei Ewell. He's been using that to his advantage there, long, lucid kind of southpaw. So he's had the right kind of people in camp for him. But I'll be surprised if he doesn't make his way over to American Top Team soon enough and try and show his skills up there with better kind of, not saying that the guys that he's training with at Team Titan, because that's an underrated camp in my opinion. I think it's a really good camp. But when you go ATT, it's more isolated. You're living in the dorms. It's in Florida, which is always nice. But there's always, you can literally just go roll out your bed and be on the mat straight away. That's pretty crazy. Like he was saying in the James Lynch interview, which I keep mentioning, go watch it. The guy's like traveling 3 hours to get to his gym. That's kind of crazy. So to have everything in the one spot for him maybe makes it a little bit easier, but then you've got to leave your family and so on, which I recognise is not easy. Andrei Ewell's a kind of odd one for me, because he's fought a lot in the last 18 months. He's like had 11 fights or something in the last 2 years, I think it is actually. And obviously he came into the UFC against Henan Barao. But what's a win over Henan Barao in 2018? When you go back years ago, it's against a former champion, but Henan Barao is a shell of himself. I bet Henan Barao in that fight. I thought that he wasn't going to lose to a fighter like Andrei Ewell coming in from the out there in the small shows. Yeah. I didn't think he was going to lose, but he is shot. That guy is, and I'd be surprised if he's in the UFC still by the end of this time next year.
TJ took his soul twice, and plus he's been an idiot going at 135 still. You know, let's be honest, he shouldn't be bothering. I bet you if Henan Barao went 145, you'd see a different animal. You'd see a guy who's got a bit more in him again. He'd probably be a bit more released as a fighter. He's pretty much bloody fighting that weight anyway every time he misses weight.
But he's like, his chin's gone as well. He can't really take a shot all too well. Ewell, I think, dropped him with a shot. Brow's game plan in that fight should have been to get takedowns, and he did. But he just couldn't do it as the fight went on, and that's how he lost the fight. And that was in Brazil as well. I think Nathaniel's got more ways to win the fight, but he needs to start quick and not be in the back foot. He needs to be leading the charge, going forward, and getting in close. I think if he gets in close and starts landing shots, I think Ewell's going to be in a little bit of trouble. So I'm going to pick Nathaniel Wood. I'm going to pick him via decision. I can either see the fight being really good, or I can see it being one of these ones where Ewell just doesn't want to engage in a fight, and the cleaner shots of Nathaniel will win him the fight. So I'll go Nathaniel Wood to win via decision. It's a tough fight, though. I do realise it's a tough fight, and he has to shore up the defense because he was taking some silly shots in that Eduardo fight, and Eduardo's not quick. He's pretty slow, and he was getting tagged with shots. So if he starts getting hit in this fight with a faster guy, a longer guy, he could be in a bit of trouble. But I'll go Nathaniel Wood via decision.
And it is a good fight. But next up, we have a fight that, if I'm honest with you, I've got not much interest. I think it's a silly thing that you're still doing it. The UFC are just rolling that cash, milking that cow literally until it's a raisin. Lightweight bout, BJ Penn against Ryan Hall. Ryan Hall as a grappler, I have watched him for a while, Will, and I've admired him as a grappler. There's a handful like Gary Tonin and stuff like that, beautiful submission specialist. But and kudos to Ryan Hall making his mark on the MMA scene, wanting to go and have a go at it. Nothing wrong with that. But man, I truly do not care about this fight. I think if it was someone else fighting Ryan Hall, yeah, I'd be in. But because it's BJ Penn, I'm like, I don't care, BJ. You should have hung him up a while ago, or maybe just go somewhere else. But I just don't see the point of it, bro. How do you look at this fight?
This kind of hurts the heart a wee bit. I'll be honest with you. Of course, I want BJ Penn to win the fight, but when I just don't want him fighting. The guy's been around for the longest time. He's taken some serious damage in the last, since probably 2012, since the Rory McDonald one. Even the Nick Diaz one, he was taking a lot of shots in that one. I think Diaz landed nearly 200 strikes on him in that fight. Rory McDonald just brutalised him. Frankie knocked him out. Ilir just pieced him up. BJ showed nothing in that fight. Dennis Seaver even beat. And I realise here that they're giving him a fight here with Ryan Hall, who he's one of those guys that kind of flops to his back, tries to initiate you into his guard, and BJ Penn might actually just jump into the guard and see what's up, because on the feet, I don't think Ryan Hall is anything good, but what he's got some pretty flashy head kicks. He's got some spin moves that he can use. People are saying that BJ Penn will have the advantage on the feet here. Yeah, maybe BJ Penn from a long time ago. The guy's slow. He's there to be hit. He's went to Nova União for this camp, which to me, I have no idea why he's going to a camp like that. Which in the last few years, everybody's been leaving that camp and kind of going their own way, and it made no sense to me when I seen that. So maybe I know he's been training a lot with Leonardo Santos, who's a kind of BJJ guy. So he's maybe expecting this fight to go to the ground, and with BJ Penn on the ground, you never know. I just think that Ryan Hall is more. He's dangerous. He's dangerous down there. The guy can pick you apart down there as well. I don't really want to talk too much about this because, like I say, it kind of hurts the heart a wee bit. I'm going to go Ryan Hall. I'm going to pick him via submission. 100% want BJ Penn to win. I remember I was in Las Vegas when he got put in the UFC Hall of Fame, and I thought that was it. And these guys keep coming back whether it's a monetary thing or it's hard to see, especially someone like BJ who is loved. BJ is one of the greatest fighters I think that the UFC has ever had, from a fanfare type of guy. The fans absolutely love him. Like when I was in Vegas, that guy was getting mobbed by old men, young kids. He had women dripping off each one of his arms. They were following him into the bathroom. This was at the Invicta fights, I think it was. Yeah, it was. And like he had a line of guys following him in while he was taking a piss to take a picture, and it was crazy. But one of the nicest guys. I was one of those guys, by the way. Just to let you know, not in the toilet, but I was following.
Too late, Will. Too late, Will. He can't take his backseats.
because I was wearing a BJ Penn shirt and he recognised me and he saw it and he's like, "Let's get a picture, brother." And I was like, "Oh, let's do that." But yeah, nicest guy. But it's a tough one here. Hopefully he just pulls something out, but I'm going to go Ryan Hall submission.
It's horrible, mate. It is. And I'm going to go Ryan Hall knockout. I just don't see Penn having the chin. And if he's like, say, you train at over now, the problem with there is they don't spar. Like, we've seen what happens. We see what they're like. They've seen how hard their training is. I just, man, he looks, every fight he's done the past few years, you've seen how slow he looks, how painful it looks for him to move, to strike. I just don't know why anyone would think that Penn's going to stop Hall. Like, Hall's youthful, taking nothing in compared to damage. Like, he's fresh, chin is fresh, health is good. You know, like you said, Will, I think BJ Penn's going in for a rough night. I think I'm going to first round Ryan Hall. I just don't see what Penn can offer now at 40. You know, it's just, and like the problem is the lower you are in the weight classes, the sooner your body kind of says no more. So yeah, man, BJ Penn is going to get stopped. Sorry, bro, but you need to hang him up, BJ. Please do. Just do grappling comps. Get him in like Polares and EBI and all that stuff. Do grappling comps. Everyone would love that. You know, everyone would be I'm in. Sign me up for that. Okay. Fight to get excited about. Okay. I know who Will's picking. I know who you're picking, Will, in this next one, in this bantamweight fight. Douglas Silva against Petr Yan. Okay. The Buzzsaw Petr Yan. Let's jump into this fight, man. This is a fight that I am excited about, man. Oof, gosh. Petr Yan, just a great ambassador for violence and the feet. Uses all 8 limbs, combinations, volume, got a good chin, can take a hit, just loves to be just dismantling fighters. He just takes them apart. He just has relentless onslaught on fighters where he just breaks. So for 3 rounds, he's not just peppering you from a shot here from afar, just pop, and get the clock going. He's trying to break you before that 3 rounds are up. If the 3 rounds are up and the decision win, whatever, but he's trying to just physically break you. He's fighting a guy, though, in Silva who he's tough. Silva's got good striking, strong grappler, good on the ground. Like, Silva's actually a very good bantamweight for Petr Yan to fight in the UFC. It's a good, like, he's a good name for, I think, to kind of get himself in there. I think. No, I was flipping on this one. I'm really torn because I think Douglas can cause big problems for Petr Yan in this fight. I think he could absolutely stifle Petr Yan. He could maybe grapple him down, dominate him on the ground. He could even just try and strike with him. But the problem is, the more I think about it, the more I watch a little bit more. I just think Petr Yan's unrelentless. Like, so his what's the word I want to use? His kind of will to win. His desire to just punish and break your soul for 3 rounds is something I just can't. I can't let that slide. I just can't get out of my head. I'm going to pick Petr Yan decision, but if he does, he could very well do a late stoppage. I just think Douglas could tire a little bit because the problem you got, Yan puts that onslaught. It's tiring. You know, when you're fighting and someone's striking, you're blocking strikes. So, trust me, Douglas is lying. Honestly, people better not write it off, but I'm going to Petr Yan decision.
Yeah, it's a really good fight, and I think it's the right step up for Petr Yan. I'm going to pick Petr Yan. I think it's fairly obvious who I'm going to go with. But I do see it as a really tough fight. I don't see it as a walk in the park. But I actually feel this is going to be his breakout performance where people are going to say, this is the guy that he's going to kind of move himself into that top 5. I mean, it's his 3rd fight in 6 months. And that's a great way to kind of introduce yourself into UFC. 3 wins. I thought his fight with who was it last time? It was Yin, wasn't it? Yin Soo Sun. he took unnecessary shots in that one. That was a great fight, by the way. That kid's got a chin and a half on him because he took some massive shots from Jan and stood there, just ate them and just kept coming forward and throwing himself. Great. I thought he was going to stop him, fairly convinced he was going to do that. He kind of styled him a little bit by out kind of striking him, but the kid was never out the fight. So that's the kind of lesson to people, maybe not write off people just by based on records or based on this and based on that. But he clearly showed in that fight that he was a better fighter than what he showed on tape. And sometimes you have to, that's something that you can't always see. But Jan's a guy, like I say, we've watched Petr Yan for a long time. We know what he's all about. The guy's got a heart of a lion that just does not want to lose. He's got a gas tank on him that just goes. Violent striker, just a violent fighter. But Douglas De Silva de Andrade is one of those guys. The guy looks huge. He's like just out his tits. He's massive. Good win over Chiesa last time. His 2 losses aren't too bad fighters either. I just think Petr Yan's going to have kind of set up. He's not going to be able to keep up with someone like Petr Yan, I think. But Peter's there to be got at because he throws so much that he is so open, and someone like Douglas could catch him with a shot. I just think that Jan's going to outwork him. And like I say, if I'm making statements like this is going to be his breakout performance where people stand up and take notice, then he has to come out here and probably stop him. So I'm going to go Petr Yan stoppage, the middle part of this fight. So, but it could be one of those fights where it's very, very close again, and Douglas is super, super live. So I'm just not on that like super, super live like other people seem to be that I've seen online here and there. But close fight, could end up being close. I'm going to go Petr Yan pretty convincingly though.
I'm with you. I think it's going to be. I think it's a sleeper fight on the card. You know, I think this is one of the fights people really aren't even noticing or taking note of, and I think it's probably going to be one of the fights at the end of the weekend that people will go, "Man, that fight that blew me away." Next up, the astonishingly beautiful Kat Zingano is fighting at featherweight against Megan Anderson, or as weirdly they say in Australia and America, Megan. But whatever, it's Megan. All right, folks, suck it up. All right. So Megan Anderson, Kat Zingano, featherweight division. How do you see this going down, Will?
Well, I was mentioning earlier on, we were talking about bets. And I might as well just get out there now because people are going to be spending. I bet Kat Zingano already. And it's all there to be seen on tape. But what I will say, I've not based my bet on the tape. Well, obviously, it's based on the things that you've seen before. But what I've looked into and what I've kind of processed in my head is like, right, what's Megan Anderson going to do different here from what I've seen in previous fights? I'm expecting her to 100% come in here expecting takedowns, be better not getting taken down, because it's fairly obvious what Kat Zingano was going to do here. Because if Cindy Dandois and Holly Holm take you down as easy as they did, now the Cindy Dandois one was an eye opener, but that was very early on in her career. Like, she had her backed up against the cage, and she didn't really even throw that much against Cindy. But as soon as she got within that distance, Cindy had her class to the mat. Really should have finished her in the first round. Get into the second round. I think Megan actually initiated the takedown, which is sell it. She got back. In fact, she got back to her feet, and then she tried to initiate the takedown, and then got tapped out. And then you heard after the fight, Cindy was like, "She is so heavy." So she's got all the natural abilities there to be a heavy top fighter, but I don't think she'll ever have something like that. Then you obviously come into the Holly Holm fight. She's expecting Holly Holm, a striker, to stand with her. Holly Holm, being smart, takes her down and takes her down with ease. She's not even close.
Holly got lit up at the start, though, didn't she? That was the problem. Holly got caught a couple of times at the start. Yeah.
But Kat Zingano, she's not going to stand there and strike with you. She's going to come in there, she's going to bull rush you and look to take you down. Now, Megan is the far bigger fighter here, and I could see a scenario where she could like pick apart Kat Zingano, because Kat Zingano's striking defense is pretty shocking. She's there to be hurt herself, but I just see points of this fight where she will take Megan to the ground and start to land shots on her. I don't think that Megan will find a way to her feet. if she keeps it on the feet for the majority of the round, she probably ends up winning the round. Not saying that Kat can't strike with her. She can maybe use leg kicks. She's got heavy leg kicks, but she's so open for strikes. It's not even funny. But there's no part of me of this fight that sees where this fight doesn't go to the mat. And it's Kat that's instigating that and taking it to the ground. And if she does, I think she can be super heavy on top, unleash a lot of elbows, strikes, just work her and tire Megan out. But it's like I say, my bet is based off what I've seen, obviously a little bit, but I'm not expecting Megan Anderson to be the same fighter I've seen in those fights where she was getting taken down and getting controlled. I fully expect her to make big changes, be improved, expecting takedowns, because that's what Kat's going to bring. Kat's on Instagram throwing guys around. It's obvious what she's going to try and do. Clinch up, throw you at the ground, and work you on the ground. I just see her doing that. And I think she will do it. If she does it a few times, she will do it round after round. I think she will win a pretty comprehensive decision. And like I say, I bet her minus 135, I think it was. I got her. She's now minus 160. So she's going up.
I'm surprised she's at 160 or minus 160. I thought they would have.
You've got to remember, Kat's moving up. So Kat's moving up to 145. And like she's not going to have to really cut all too much weight. But Megan is a big 140. She is a natural featherweight, like huge girl. But I just think Kat's tenacity and her just aggressiveness is going to come to fruition in this fight, and she gets the fight to the mat. I think she wins the fight through that avenue. So I'll go Kat Zingano, possibly a stoppage, more likely a decision.
I posted on Twitter on our page about that. I said about the tape study. I said if Kat does stick to a game plan and just wrestles, she should win this all day long. And that's exactly what should happen here. Megan is not a wrestler. She's never shown it. Her stance is very wide. So actually the problem she's got is with this wide stance is that she's vulnerable for that takedown because she's not in a good position for sprawling. I would be, if I'm Kat Zingano, I'd probably try and open up with a couple of good leg kicks, chop that leg for a little bit, maybe 30 seconds, just to get Megan off the kind of mindset of takedowns, maybe even strike for a minute or so, just to get Megan off the strike, the takedown bit, maybe get Megan to throw a strike and, like you said, shoot in. It's all there for you, folks. Megan is going to, if she gets taken down, that is what you need to do. On the ground, she's not very good either at stopping the transitions. She's not very good at stopping people from getting to any position they want. Kat is good. Kat is good on the ground. Kat is actually not bad at jiu-jitsu either on the ground. She's good. She's got good heavy ground and pound. And as like you said, Will, she's not cutting that much weight, so an extra 10 pounds. So she'll probably come up she'll probably walk in 150, 155 in a day. So Kat will probably feel a lot fuller, feel a lot fresher. So, we might see a better performance from her. She'll have a bit more in her for 3 rounds. So that wrestling side of things, Kat's wrestled for years. She's got legit wrestling. She knows more wrestling than Megan. So that Megan can't ever catch up. As long as you just don't rush into Megan too daft and be too silly with the rushing in for the takedowns or rushing in for the strikes, because Megan has got that long reach. She has got that distance. She can counter-strike you. As long as you do that, you're good. I would strongly suggest that Kat does a couple of calf kicks. Calf kicks are great. You saw the video, Will, of Kat Zingano doing the pad work with the dude, and the dude didn't have a fine pad, and he was just getting cracked with the. And I was like, "Fuck that! Nah." Doesn't matter if it's a woman or a dude. Leg kicks, and especially when they're done correctly, she was just whipping them in. I was like, "Nah." I would throw the pads at her, no chance. But get some calf kicks in. Calf kicks would slow Megan down greatly for the takedowns, especially coming to the second and third round. And like you said, this is a good fight for Kat to get that win, because I think it would be ideal for Kat to get a win here. For Megan, yeah, she looked good in an Invicta fight against some of the girls she was fighting who aren't that great, because there's not super great 145ers. But the girls she was fighting weren't ever anything of note. And plus, I've got to say, I've interviewed Megan in the past. She was lovely at the time, but like I say, kind of took a turn. Like I tried to talk to her and reach to her because she had the visa problems, because basically she was illegally staying in the US. and she just kind of turned a little bit. So just shows what kind of human being she is. So just putting it out there. So probably not going to pick Megan, even if she was to fight someone who's not very good. So good, Cat. Cat decision. Next up in the heavyweight division, Andrei Arlovski against Walt Harris. Now, we love some heavyweight action because it's either going to go first round knockout or 3-round decision, and it gets sloppy and boring. Walt Harris, he's got good hands. He's got good hands. But he's fighting Arlovski, who's starting to fight way different and fight way smarter. Arlovski's kind of turning the game a little bit, where he's kind of like Junior Santos and Alistair Overeem, where they've changed their way of training, the way they train, the way they fight, the way they approach bouts. Because Arlovski's at ATT and so is Junior Santos, so the pair of them training a lot together. And we all know that JDS has got some legit boxing skills, so I'm sure they've done hours together with sparring. And I've got to say, this one, at first I thought, Walt Harris, pop those 1-2s, finish Arlovski. But Arlovski's just got smarter with the clinching, closing the fight down, just to slow the pace down a bit as well. And Walt Harris he's beaten the guys he should have beaten. He's beaten those lower echelon kind of entry level heavyweights, but he's never had that name. This is the chance for him to get that. And I hate that I'm picking Arlovski, because it's not very often I pick Arlovski, because I just can't, because he's so weirdly hit and miss. But I think Arlovski can win a decision by just outsmarting Harris. A lot of experience on Arlovski's side, a lot of knowledge. I think he can just avoid the brawling, just be smart, close down the distance, like a couple of shots, close it down, clinch work against the cage, hold each other, have some lovely bear hugs, and then referee splits it up and just do that for 3 rounds. Just be smart. Maybe if you can sneak in a trip or a takedown, inside leg, just sweep it and get him down. Arlovski might do that. Because he's got, I believe Arlovski has got kind of, a Sambo in his background from years and years and years ago. So, but he just never bothered to show it. It's weird. I would like him to go back to it, if I'm honest with you. But yeah, it's weird, but I'm going to go Arlovski decision. But it's so weird to say it. But I think Arlovski might win, bro.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you as well. I never thought... It's just one of those fights. I think it's going to be a smelly fight. I think if Walt doesn't get him out there, because obviously his intentions is to come in and knock Andrei out, and Andrei will be the same. But Andrei can also be one of those fighters who can just fight at a pace and pick his shots. I think is it the Junior Albini fight?
Yeah,
I think he did that, and it wasn't a great fight. It was horrible. Even the Stefan Struve fight as well. And it kind of just rings out one of these fights that's going to happen. If Walt doesn't get him early, I think that Andrei's going to outwork him, frustrate Walt Harris. I thought Walt Harris was at American Top Team.
No, Arlovski and JDS, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I never even thought of that until now. So obviously, I'm guessing he's moved on, or maybe they're in the same camp and they've just took the fight, or whatever. But he's a former Golden Gloves amateur boxing champion, so he's got some pretty decent skills on the feet, and he's obviously got some big power. I know he was training with Tyson Fury for his fight against Deontay Wilder, which was a little bit interesting. Yeah, I saw that. So he's sharp, I'm guessing, but I just don't think he's going to catch Andrei Arlovski, and I think that Andrei's just going to outwork him, outpoint him, and win a fairly bland decision. Like I say, I'm not super confident in Andrei Arlovski, but I think that he's got the abilities to kind of fight smart and do that. So I'll go, I think I'll go Andrei Arlovski by a smelliest. I think this could be the worst fight in the card, actually. But I see Andrei Arlovski winning via a pretty horrible decision.
I'm trying to see on his Instagram, like gym, like training and stuff, like coaches or anything like that, but not having much luck. Not having much luck. He's not posting too much on there, so it doesn't say where he is at, which is a shame, but oh well. So yeah, like I said, on Arlovski there for a potential win, folks. So I don't know what the odds are for that, but we'll find out. But next up, the pay-per-view kicking off with Money Chad Mendes against Volkanovski, who is the kind of, I don't want to say new breed, but he's just a bull of a guy fighting another stumpy featherweight who's also a beefy bull. Will, how do you see Mendes and Volkanovski going on? Because Chad was out for a while, came back with a bang.
This is probably my hardest fight to pick in the entire card. And I was very, very, very close to betting Chad Mendes. But there's just some things there that's thrown me off. It's like, I still think his chin's a little bit of an issue. I still think, I don't know where his cardio's at. And the one thing with Volkanovski, which I like, is that the guy sets a pace, can go super hard. Recently, can go super hard, 15 minutes, beats similar type fighters to Mendes. And when I say that, I don't mean Elkins is a similar type fighter. No, he's not, actually. That's a stupid comparison. But he's a hard-nosed fighter who's got a wrestling kind of background, not as well advanced in the striking as what Mendes is with the power and the technique and so on, but is dogged and has that in his repertoire. And, I mean, Arlovski just absolutely ran through Darren Elkins, and that's not easy to do at all. But then again, this is the step up into the elite level, but there's still questions about Chad Mendes. He was out a long time, and he beat Miles Jury, which is a great, great win to have. But I still think there's a few issues there. I'm just not, when I was thinking about betting, I was like, I'm not sure, because Frankie Edgar caught him with a clean shot and put him out. I think Volkanovski has the kind of, he could definitely catch him with a shot and maybe hurt him. So I had to kind of refrain myself from betting that. And then I thought, right, am I going to pick Volkanovski here? And I'm like, I don't think I'm confident enough to bet Volkanovski. I still feel that Chad Mendes, if he turns up, he is one of the top 3 guys in the division there. So is Volkanovski in that level? I don't think he is yet, but I think he's got the kind of skill set to be a bit of a force in that division. But again, it's the step up. He's went from your Shane Young, which was a tough fight, to Jeremy Kennedy, where he absolutely bludgeoned him with elbows. Darren Elkins is just the premium gatekeeper at 145. I think I'm going to pick Chad Mendes. He's got that D1 wrestling. I think eventually he could kind of take him down. I think it might be one of these fights that might take place in the cage, and he might be able to be the stronger fighter. But Volkanovski, I think, is going to have moments in this fight where he can make it really close. Like I said, I'm not super confident in the pick. I'm going to pick Chad Mendes via a very close split decision. Not confident really in the slightest after sitting back and looking into it a little bit more, but because Volkanovski's a good fighter. But I'm going to go Mendes via a split decision.
I'm stuck as well. I'm with you, because if Volkanovski can keep that pace for 15 minutes and go hard, and especially if they end up getting on the cage and doing a lot of grappling, what is the tank that Mendes has got? Like, how does Mendes feel in round 3 if it goes like that? Because we know Volkanovski can just keep going, just keep grinding. You know, that rugby background he's got, you know, that's what we have. Us rugby boys go for 80 minutes. You know, we're throwing dudes around way bigger than Chad Mendes for 80 minutes, picking up, slamming him down, running 50 meters, chasing a bloody egg, and then bringing it all the way back and then doing a scrum, and then you're going again and you're smashing another dude. Yeah, it's a hard one, man, because I think the problem is Chad's got top level wrestling. That's the difference, you know. Volkanovski was using power, a lot of power, and he got takedowns through power, but technique always wins, and I think Chad's going to be strong as well. So technique and strength with power. I think Chad is a way superior wrestler. If the two of them just had a wrestling bout, it wouldn't even be a contest, I swear. I think Volkanovski would get absolutely creamed by Mendes. I just think that Volkanovski's going to try and land the heavy shots on him. Because I'd want to test out Chad's chin. You know, that'd be the first thing I'd want to go for. I think, right, if Frankie's popping you, people are hitting you and they're wobbling, if they can get you wobbled, man, it's hard to pick, man. It's hard. It's a step up for Volk, but I think I'm going to go Chad Mendes just on, I think, a 30-27. I think he can just put enough out there on the feet to then bait Volkanovski in for the big power shots for him to shoot and get the takedowns. So I think Chad might be able to get him down. And again, just be smart, get those wins. Because Volkanovski's just one of those awkward guys to fight. There's certain styles that are just horrible and dogged fights to fight. And he's one of them guys who just, you're not going to get, and he's not going to give you what you want. He's just going to be one of those guys in your face for 15 minutes. He's going to be a horrible guy that anyone faces. Whether they win or lose, he's going to be a pain. But I'm going to go Chad but it's not going to be a pretty fight for Chad. It's going to be a horrible one. So next up, we have the light heavyweight division. The most shortest light heavyweight, yet the most beautiful man on a horse, riding topless. Latifi against Corey Anderson. Man, what an interesting fight this is, because Corey Anderson, he says he likes to grind. I don't know, 27-7, whatever it is he says, beasted or whatever he calls it. But he's fighting a guy, Latifi, who's just about 2 foot tall off the ground, an absolute pain to get down because he's so short. It's really hard to get down because Corey's not short. Corey's tall, so you got to think. So if you're about the same height, level change takedowns aren't so bad. But then when there's a big discrepancy, you've got to then change even lower to get down. It's going to be a harder one for Corey to get Latifi down. So then it goes to does Corey use that strike, and does he pop out to jabs? We know Latifi's going to do. Latifi's not going to stand there and jab with him. He's not going to do a long fight. He can't do it. So he's going to come in charge. He's going to charge at him. And I think that's the only time Corey can get those takedowns, if he is going to get takedowns on Latifi, is when Latifi comes charging, throwing the strikes to get underneath. Both of them have shown improvements in the last few fights. I don't know if it's because of the oppositions they were facing or guys on the tether of their careers, and maybe they're just kind of riding a little wave at the moment. I don't know. It's a tough one because, like, Tyson Pedro and OSP for Latifi. So Tyson Pedro, as we know, poor fight IQ. OSP, he's a Uriah Hall of the light heavyweight division. Who's coming up? What OSP going to get? Corey Anderson, though, beating Glover. Good, solid win. Again, Glover's definitely on the tether on his career. Definitely on the last few fights. You can definitely see Glover's depletion. Patrick Cummins, again, it's like a Tyson Pedro fight. Big whoop, you get the win. I think both of them are kind of similar stage in that way. But I'm going to go with, feels weird saying it, but I'm going to go with Corey Anderson. I know Corey Anderson got sparked by Jimmy Manuwa, but Jimmy Manuwa is a far better striker than Latifi. So he's a bit more precise with his strikes. He can land a bit. So I think that when I look at a decent striker, I think a decent striker can absolutely put Corey away. I don't think Latifi is a decent striker, and I think I think that Corey can get the takedowns. I think Latifi will come in charge. He has to charge in. He has to close that gap. He has to. Corey only has to pop his jabs out straight all day long, laughing. As soon as Latifi comes in, shoot down, get the takedown, secure it. You won't keep him down. Don't get me wrong. You're not going to keep that man down. He's a freak of nature. He's absolutely massive. But I just think Corey can just do that for 3 rounds. I really do. And I think he can get a decision. You don't want to hear about it, but you don't hear decisions. But I think you can just wear on Latifi and get that win. So I'm going to go Corey decision. But I'm not expecting anything special in this fight. I'm not expecting it to be a standout battle.
Yeah, I'm going with Corey Anderson as well. I'm not... I think that, like I say, Latifi's not really a one-punch killer guy. And that's what kind of Corey struggles with. Hit you very hard. And I don't doubt that Latifi doesn't hit hard, but for great. And like I say, his output on the feet isn't really great either. He has some like big kind of leg kicks. He's a chunk. The guy's like a fire hydrant. he's like the smallest guy, but he's the widest guy in the room. It's serious how wide the guy is. And you can see by that he just doesn't get taken down. He's never been taken down in the UFC. But Corey Anderson, if he can take you down once, you can guarantee he can take you down 5, 6, 7, 8, 12 times like he did against Patrick Cummins, who is a D1 wrestler. Once he got him the first few times, it was easy after that. I kind of feel the same way here about Latifi. If he can get him down once, I think that's that mental thing there where he's got him down. He's like, all right, so he can get me down and he can do it again. And I firmly believe that Corey Anderson can do that. And like I say, I don't know whether he can keep Latifi there. If he can, then Anderson's a bit of, like I say, Latifi. It's just, he's a wee fire hydrant, and he looks a guy that if you were to get on top of, and you were a big guy yourself, he'd still be tough because he's so short. He could come out underneath, come round the side. It's one of those ones where I think Latifi has to show more of his striking, but he's at a reach disadvantage. Not that Corey's a hugely elaborate striker. He's not the best striker you're ever going to see, but when he's on, he's a tough fighter to face. I think he can put a pace on Latifi here that Latifi can't withstand for 15 minutes. Like I say, I think the first takedown or the first initiation of the clinch against the cage, if he can get the takedown, then that's a huge thing in my opinion. So I'm going to go Corey Anderson to outwork him over 15 minutes and win the decision.
Breaking news. Obviously, people will know about this by the time this goes out, but UFC 232 is moving from Las Vegas to Los Angeles. They are moving the event next week, or this week. Basically, Jon Jones had an abnormal drug test result for the same substance that triggered a positive test in 2017. USADA apparently believes it's a trace amount left over from the previous issue last year, but Nevada won't sanction the fight. Well, Mr. Jones.
They're moving
the whole event over from Las Vegas to LA. Woo! Wow. That is crazy. That is crazy. Wow.
Oh, wow.
So that could affect the fighters, that could affect a lot of things. They'll have had, you got to think all the fighters there for fight week will have stuff planned. They'll have gyms maybe that they're going to use. They'll have, routines in place. They'll have places they go for their cuts or maybe their food place. So that could cause a bit of an issue. Guys, make them wait. That's going to be a tough one. So that's literally just because my phone just started flashing. And I thought, what the heck is going on here? It just wouldn't stop bloody blinking. And that's what it was popping up. So, yeah, I just want to put that out there, folks. That's going to be interesting. Well, I don't know what effect that will have, but it might have no effect. It might affect him. Who knows? Imagine that they're going to have to cancel all those flights to Vegas and move them to LA. Cost them all a bit of cheddar.
Yeah, just I think Matt's going out to that, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. Is he? Oh, no.
Yeah, I think he is.
Unlucky Matt.
Because that's going to be horrible to get stuff rearranged. And
yeah. There we go. Go into that map.
Wow.
There we go.
I'm not going to be going on Twitter anytime soon because it's going to be Jon Jones this, Jon Jones that. He's testing positive again and he's doing this and saying that. Who knows? Gosh,
yeah. So, yeah. Well, yeah, I can't wait for that. Gosh, Twitter's going to absolutely love that. Anyway, I feel more sorry for the fake Jon Jones who gets a lot of heat from people who don't really look that much. And I just think Jon Jones is the handle for Jon Jones, the fighter, when it's not. It's brilliant. So, welterweight division, bro, though. Carlos Condit, Michael Chiesa. Man, here we go. This is interesting. Chiesa's still trying to do the legal battle with Conor thing and all that jazz still going on, which is ridiculous. Still going on that. But Carlos Condit, Michael Chiesa, well, this fight, what do you see in this one?
And he's asking for the full fight pass.
Never going to happen. No chance.
How kind of crazy is that? Interesting fight for the simple reason that it's moving up. Chiesa's moving up to 170, and Condit last time I thought he looked better than he has done in a while. I think I still think I'm not sure where he's 100% at, but I think this is a winnable fight for him. Honestly, I think that he had spots in the Oliveira fight where I thought he looked better. He looked better to me than he did in the Magny fight. I don't think he looked great in the Magny fight. Now, he's always been one of these guys that's very, very easy to take down and kind of control a little bit. He gives up positions fairly easily as well. But if this stays standing, then there's a clear winner, in my opinion. It's going to be not Michael Chiesa, it's going to be Carlos Condit. Now, in saying that, Chiesa is one of those guys, if he gets any kind of position on you, he's a big guy and he sticks to you like glue. He's a tough guy to get off you. But like I say, where's his head at? He seems, the interviews I've seen him, he seems like, I've kind of heard two things. I've heard his injury's still not great, but from what I've seen, I'm going to take from his word himself, that he says he's feeling great, his body's doing great. He's looking forward to not having this super bad dehydrating weight cut that's going to affect his performance. And it didn't. I think he came in with an injury last time against Petr. The weight cut definitely didn't help. So if those two things are in check, rightfully so, he is the betting favourite over Carlos Condit. I just don't think Carlos Condit's done. I think it's still a tough fight for anybody 155 to move up to 170 and face a guy who had a championship around his waist at one time. I'm going to pick Carlos Condit. I'm not 100% sold on Michael Chiesa being kind of fit or ready. You have to take his word for it. If he says he is, then so be it. But I think there's some underlying things that I don't know. I just think he's going to show up in this one. It's going to be a tough fight for him. Not super confident. I'm just not sure with this fight. Honestly, I'm not 100% sure. But I'll go with the underdog to kind of come through and win here. It's a fight I don't think I've got a good read on. Honestly, I just can't really get the greatest of reads on it. But I'll go Condit via decision.
It is a hard one. Yeah, we did have Matt was meant to be going. Yeah, so sorry, folks. Our friend was meant to be going to that, so he doesn't know what's going to happen now. Yeah, that is, and UFC will do nothing. They won't help in any way or have any sympathy. They will not care because that is the UFC. Yeah, people got to remember Carlos Condit has never been knocked out in his MMA career. Never. He lost a TKO to Tyron Woodley because his ACL or MCL, whichever one was, blew out. But he's never been physically knocked out or stopped like that. And that was only because I think they fell over funny when they did a takedown. So Carlos Condit still got the chin, so he's not getting knocked out. Like he took, he went 5 rounds of Robbie Lawler, whatever it was. That was just beautiful violence, and it was good. So we know he's conditioned. His only thing is, it's on the ground. He's susceptible to submissions on the ground. It's happened in the past, outside UFC, inside UFC. If I'm Chiesa, that's all I'm doing. I'm just going takedowns. That's all I'm doing. There's nothing. If Chiesa can just do takedowns, just jump straight into them. Don't bother wasting time. Look at Damian Maia. Literally grabbed Carlos Condit within God knows how many seconds. Took him down straight away, and that was it. End of fight. Chiesa's got to take note of that. You don't bother wasting time standing with Carlos Condit because Carlos Condit has got pop in his hands and can strike. He will light up Chiesa all day long, in my opinion. I don't care how fit Chiesa is. I don't put both of them up, stand them up, fit men. Chiesa's never going to beat that stand-up fight. He's never going to win that stand-up fight. It's always going to be Condit. So I'm going to go with Chiesa. I think Chiesa is going to be smart and he's going to get that takedown and just go do the submission game. Just go straight in, get him down, and that's it. Have no striking intentions. Just charge, bull rush, get him down. 170, I expect to see a different animal. That's 15 pounds Chiesa not cutting. 15, that's huge. So yeah, I expect to see that happen. So I'm only placing this pick on if they stick to this game plan. It's the only way to beat Condit. Get him down, take him down, dominate him for 3 rounds. I think Carlos could maybe hold him off, but we'll see. Because Condit gets a bit frustrated on the ground when things aren't going his way. You see it. He doesn't really fight enough to get up, in my opinion. He just kind of semi-gives up. So bollocks, I can't bother with this. But yeah, I'm going to go Chiesa decision. So yeah. Next up, we have in the women's featherweight division, as they want to call it, super fight. The UFC are trying to match up as many as they can of these champs versus champs. They're milking this as quickly as they can. Cris Cyborg against Amanda Nunes, which I think in this, is it this event, Will, they're doing the new belts?
I think so.
Yeah, because they were putting on, they did like the teaser little trailer with the belts on, and they had like a bit of an American flag and a bit of a Canada flag. I went, I don't like that immediately. I thought you can't put country flags on a bloody belt because there's not enough space to put all the countries on the world on. So if you're just going to isolate it to a couple of countries, that's not very good. I don't think that's a good idea. You can't, it's a stupid thing. Plus, there was nothing wrong with the old belts. There was nothing wrong with them. There's no need to rebrand it or anything. The belts are the belts. They're fine. They're great. Don't change it. Absolute waste of time, waste of money, pointless. Absolutely pointless. Imagine being a UFC fan and buying one of the old replicas and they put newer belts out. I'm like, no. It's not WWE. What's next? We're going to get the UFC sign that spins round like John Cena's with diamonds on.
I actually quite like it. I like the fact. I think it needs a wee update. I think doing a couple of things. I don't mind it at all.
So what about boxing with the WBC belts that they have? The belts don't change. You don't need to change them.
Yeah,
the belts.
Little sort of changes, I'll be fine. I'm like I'm interested. I'm just interested to see what it looks like. But little changes, like if you're the one thing I maybe should say is that if you say like you're from Brazil, have the Brazil flag on there or something you can kind of customize to yourself to being the champion, and then change it for. I don't mind stuff like that, a little thing, but. Like I say, if it's big drastic changes, then I'm not for that. But little things here and there that add to it, by all means, I'm for it. I don't mind it.
I don't. Yeah. Anyway, I just like the old belt. I think there's nothing wrong with it, in my opinion. I thought there was no need for it to change. But we've got Cyborg Nunes. Will. Okay. Amanda Nunes going to 145. It's going to be interesting to see what she looks like, how she feels at that weight, because. She's probably not going to be staying there because there is no one in the featherweight division, win or lose in this fight. It's just a division they've got there for Cyborg. But the thing is, Amanda Nunes in the 135 division, she was the bigger, stronger, more powerful fighter. And she didn't really have much. The only girl she had that really caused her any real problems, there was the Kat Zingano fight. But I mean, like, Shevchenko, Shevchenko was an absolute nightmare for her. But she's lost before to not Sarah Kaufman. I always get them mixed up with the other girl, Alexis Davis. That's it. I always get them two mixed up. I don't know why. So Amanda Nunes has got flaws in her game. She's lost fights in the past. She's won fights, obviously, of course, as we know that she's the champion right now. But she's not going to be the bigger fighter. She's going to fight she's going to fight Cris Cyborg, who's going to be definitely going to be the bigger fighter. She's going to be the bigger girl in this one. Cyborg's going to hit harder. Now, a friend of mine at work, my manager at work, he likes UFC a little bit, and he was saying, "Oh yeah, I've not been impressed with Cyborg the last couple of fights." I went, whoa. So Cyborg didn't have to do much in the last few fights. She only pulls out stuff when she needs to. But she doesn't really have to. She's obviously implementing his skill set as well. She's being smart. What if fights go 5 rounds? She needs to have the gas tank in, so she's utilizing her output more. Whereas before she was steamrolling girls in the first few rounds, she couldn't have done that pace for 5 rounds. She's with Jason Perillo as well, is it? Who's a beautiful boxing coach. I just think Amanda Nunes hits hard, but I think when Cyborg hits Amanda's going to feel like Misha Tate did when Amanda cracked her face. I just think Cyborg cracks way harder than Amanda. I really do. I think she hits hard, don't get me wrong. And I love her straights. She's got beautiful 1-2s for the women's division, but I just think that Cyborg's going to show that there is a difference in weight classes, and especially in the women's bantamweight and the featherweight division, there is a gulf there. And I think that, man, I just don't see how. I just can't, like, the big question mark is Amanda Nunes' gas tank, and obviously to an extent Cyborg's, but Amanda's is a big question mark, and I still think it is. I think that Amanda Nunes, if you can just put a bit of a pace on it and just make her work hard, you can really catch Amanda out. And that's why I'm going to go Cyborg, man. I think Cyborg's going to stop Amanda. I think Cyborg can finish her. I think she can get her hands and land on her. I'm going to go like third, fourth round, just a constant pace. Don't get me wrong. I think Amanda Nunes has come on leaps and bounds for the past few fights. I just think Cyborg's she's a different animal. Literally, she is a different specimen. She's not even a human being. She's a freak of nature. But I just can't look past Cyborg. I just really can't.
Yeah, I'm kind of, well, the last kind of couple of weeks, I've been looking at where can Nunes have the advantage here, and I think she might be the faster striker slightly, but I think the one thing that kind of worries me is her gas tank kind of wanes a little bit. Now that, not really so much anymore. I think in the past that used to be a big problem. I think it's a lot better now, but I still think there's tendencies there. And against a bigger girl in Cyborg, who is massive, she's a big woman. I've seen her and she's humongous. But Amanda hasn't got to cut that extra 10 pounds. She's going to be super healthy. She's going to be fast. She's going to be quick. So she might start off really quick, but I just think once Cyborg starts landing those shots, I think they're going to start taking effect. And she's never been hit with strikes. Like, I guarantee that Amanda Nunes has never been hit with the kind of strikes that Cyborg will hit her with. I'm sure it's a very different beast being hit by Valentina, who is not in no way whatsoever a big power puncher. Cyborg's a power puncher. If she lands correctly, she's going to hurt her, and she's going to hurt her bad. I want to try and find a way for Amanda Nunes to win this fight, but I'm struggling to see it. I really am. I thought she lost that fight to Amanda Nunes. Valentina Shevchenko.
Yeah, same here. Yeah.
And then she completely destroyed Raquel Pennington. But in my opinion, Pennington was never a kind of world championship caliber fighter. Cris Cyborg has shown she is the caliber fighter, world caliber fighter, and has been for years. Brutal striker. And eventually people go like, she's not sure her best in the UFC, and I kind of tend to agree. You can't not agree with it, because our opponents have not been great, but she's did what she had to do. She gets in there, she destroys them. Eventually, like the people that she fights just don't get like near enough offense off against her. I mean, she destroyed Leslie Smith fairly easy, and like Leslie was probably the most game opponent she had. Lena Landsberg she's had no right being at 145. Tonya Evinger, she's just a kind of older, kind of generational fighter with nothing to really hurt Cyborg with. Holly Holm had probably the best chance, I think, by just a kind of fighting style where she could pick and pop at a distance, can be fairly elusive on her feet, but even that didn't make much of a difference. Cyborg just kind of found ways to kind of hurt and win that, and then she destroyed Yana. I struggle to see Amanda winning the fight. I really do. Does she knock her out? No, unless she hits her with a clean shot, that could happen. I'm going to go Cyborg via late stoppage, 4th or 5th round, TKO victory. Yeah.
I think it's pretty, especially when you think Holly Holm, what she did to Megan, and then you look what Cyborg did to Holly. You think, I just don't know. I just don't see it. Okay, let's go to the main event, Will. Mr. Jon Jones. After that kerfuffle, we just heard about the results and all this jazz. Mr. Gustafsson. Oh, man. Like, two men who had the best light heavyweight fight ever, and one of the best MMA fights I've ever watched. I've been watching it live. It woke me up because it was at stupid o'clock in the morning. And bloody hell, did that wake me up. I was wired. I don't think I got to bed till like 9 or 10 that morning. I was just absolutely just like jacked on adrenaline. Like, I couldn't believe I watched it. I remember buying the DVD. Remember, because some people who are new to the sport won't know this, but the UFC do DVDs of the events, numbered events. And gosh, I've watched that. I had watched that DVD many times. I don't have a DVD player now. Because everything's bloody, because it's all on Fight Pass, so I don't need it. As soon as I got a Fight Pass, I didn't need those DVDs, but I've still got it. I might sell it one day, or get it signed by someone and get it sold, put it on for charity or something. I don't know, competition with the podcast, who knows? But Will, man, like, It's weird, but I'm really excited about this fight.
Yeah, I'm really thrown off with this news that's just been released there, because like I am a staunch Jon Jones fan, and I have been for years. I went out to events that he was fighting in, but like this is a little bit sketchy. This seems to me like the UFC are moving this event because something else is in his system. And I don't know how he's going to manage to get away with kind of this one. And like I say, I'm a Jon Jones fan, but I'm kind of hanging on by a ball here pretty much. Interest. This fight week is going to be
Daniel Cormier.
Super interesting.
Bro, Daniel Cormier just tweeted. He tested positive again.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just to look into the fight, but now I want to know if Jon Jones on the juice.
Oh, well,
fights when he's on the juice.
Yeah.
So, but it's a sketchy thing, that news. But looking into the fight, if you go back 5 years, which is crazy, and analyze that fight, there was a lot of talk after the fight that Jon Jones really didn't prepare for that Alex Gustafsson in that camp all that much. He was out doing his stuff that he does outside of fighting, and he probably still does that to a little bit as well now. But I think he knows what Alex can bring to the table, how tough he is, and that was a guy that he faced for the first time. He was on a similar kind of height. Nobody's ever going to kind of compare reach with Jon Jones, but he kicked a lot in that fight. And Alex countered very well off those kicks with his strikes, with his hand strikes.
Yeah.
And a lot of people scored that fight for Alex Gustafsson. I had it for Jones. But like I say, I'm a Jones fan, so I might have been talking as a kind of fan more then. But when I go back and watch it now, I know definitely back then I was a pretty big Jon Jones fan. Of kind of the misdemeanors have kind of faded me off a little bit. And I met Jon Jones for the first time at UFC 120 in London. They did a fan expo. The nicest guy ever. 97. He was one of the biggest dickheads I've ever had the pleasure of being around. Now, I will say his family, like his dad, is one of the nicest guys ever as well, by the way. But like Jon Jones, you can tell the real Jon Jones is kind of coming out and who he is, and that's fine. He's being his true self, but I've seen the kind of two sides to him, and I know where he is, and it's hard to kind of be a fan of his. But when you look at him as a fighter, I just don't think anybody comes close to the natural talent that guy has in so many levels. I don't even think we've seen the guy barely fights, and he's still recognised as one of the best fighters of all time. If you imagine what the time he's had off, and what he could have did in that time, and if he never had those stupid misdemeanors outside the cage and tested for this and did that, there's no doubt about it, he would be the greatest of all time. But then you give opportunities to other fighters to come in and take that mantle, your Demetrius Johnsons, your your Fedors, whatever. Looking at this fight, I think and Dan Hardy said it best on the breakdown to UFC 232, if Alexander Gustafsson might have only seen Jon Jones at 50%, he's maybe not seen, and Alex Gustafsson said, like, I'm on his level. I don't think you are on his level. I think if he shows up full capacity, you don't touch this guy. And I don't think you beat him. I think you have to get in his face. You have to really get at him and hurt him very, very early. I thought like Alex did very well in the early rounds in that one. Picked his shots right. When Jones was using those oblique kicks, he was coming in there and he was countering with great strikes, uppercuts, and just fighting well. But eventually, Jon Jones, being the champion that he is, made the kind of maneuvers around to turn the fight in his favour, and ultimately win him the fight. But I'm kind of going on the fact that if Jon Jones turns up to be better than he was the first fight, Alexander Gustafsson doesn't beat him. He's barely fought as much as what Jon Jones has in those 5 years. So where's he at in his game? I don't think he's making big strides, or he can make big strides to what Jon Jones can. I'm going to pick Jon Jones. I think a stoppage will happen this time. If he is better than he was the first time and he takes it more serious, and if he's on the juice or whatever, that news just threw me well off. But my original pick was Jon Jones via knockout submission at some point in this fight, late in the fight. I'm going to stick with that and go with Jon Jones, and I really hope that Matt, who's a good buddy of ours, gets everything sorted, because that's horrible. 6 days out. I think it was the Conor McGregor fight when he had with Aldo, 189, and that got changed 2 weeks beforehand, and that was horrible enough. Try to see if he was going to fight in the card, but moving to another city, the expenditure is going to be crazy. Hopefully something gets sorted out for him, and he gets kind of reimbursed some way and somehow with that. So, but I'm going to pick Jon Jones via stoppage late in the fight.
Yeah, it's all because holiday insurance wouldn't cover anything like that. They'd be like, that's nothing to do with us. That's not. Yeah, so it's rough. It's rough. Unless you can get a refund on a hotel, maybe Airbnb it, something. Travel last LA. Anyway, so yeah, man, the fight. Gosh, well, Gus has fought 5 times since he last fought, and Jon Jones has fought 4 times, and Jon Jones has been suspended for God knows how long, lost count, and Gus only had 5 fights. So the pair of them are on a kind of equal par. Do you know where, talking about rust or ring sharpness, the pair of them aren't at their peak for going into the octagon in this fight. But that said, what Gus has shown in his last few fights was nothing that kind of showed us, I think, anything new to his game. There's not much added to him. He's still kind of the same Gus when Jon Jones fought. As we know, Jon Jones, he's too unpredictable. But you got to think, since they last fought, Jon Jones hasn't lost. Gus has. Gus lost twice. Daniel Cormier, decision. Split, doesn't matter, still lost decision. And Anthony Johnson with that massive overhand right / headbutt, I think it was off the top of my head. So, man, it's a rough one for me to look at Alexander and think, do you know what? Okay, you had the upper hand in the last fight when you last met them. You were getting the better of the exchanges. You put on more damage. Jon Jones was on a hospital bed while you were walking. So fair enough, yeah, you did some good work. But Jon Jones, we don't know what he's been doing. Well, we know. Well, I don't mean that. You know what I mean? I don't mean that kind of stuff. But we mean we don't know what he's been doing at the gym. We don't know what he's been adding at the gym. He said he's been working a lot on his boxing because he said that was one of the things he really wanted to spend time on and work on and focus and develop and grow. So Jon Jones has been working on his boxing a bit more. We know he's got the kicks. We know he's got the oblique kicks, like you said before. He's got the submission game. He knows that Gus might try to surprise him. The takedowns aren't going to be a surprise now. That was the one thing about the fight that really, I think, caught Jones out, was the takedowns that Gus could put on Jon Jones. And that kind of forced Jones to maybe have the hands a bit lower, to kind of expect maybe potential takedowns. I think Jones now knows that that's a potential threat, but something that he won't be too worried about now. I think because he'll know that's there as an option. I think Jones just has more weapons, like you say, mate. I think Jon Jones is pound for pound the best that ever did this. End of. I don't think there's much of a discussion. I think DJ's number 2, but I think Jon Jones, even on his worst day, still the best. It's weird. He's one of those anomalies that he uses everything so well and mixes up so many variables. It's just hard to know what he's going to do. Look at the DC fight. He was losing the first 2 rounds. DC looked phenomenal, don't get me wrong. But then Jones just started to get it. He just went, right, got it, got what I need, boom, end of, and finish DC. And I think it's going to happen again. I think the pair of them are going to feel each other out in the first round because it's been a while since they've last fought. But once Jones gets that timing and that range and that measurement and that decision, I just can't see past Jones losing. I'm going to go late stoppage. Maybe 4th round for Jon Jones. But yeah, I'm going to go Jon Jones, 4th round. I'm going to go silly. I'm going to say submission. I think he might get a submission. Yeah, I'll go that. But, man, I can't wait for it. I'm going to try and look past the crazy stuff that's happened with this news on the results and the tests. Because the problem is, USADA, as we all know, give the worst bit of information ever, and they don't give you enough of it. So you don't. They give you like, oh, there's been a discrepancy. Whoa, 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 whoa! Don't give us this. Don't no. Give me everything so we can look at it a bit better. Don't just give us it's a bit of something a bit sketchy. No, we can't have that, mate. That doesn't cut the mustard. You know what I mean? We need a bit more info. So look, I can't. Yeah, I think it's unfair for you or I to comment on it because
I don't know if you've seen Twitter.
It's amazing. It's hilarious. If I'm honest.
Ariel's just tweeted out that Alexander Gustafsson's been in Vegas for a week. He is now on a tour of the Grand Canyon, which I've been, and you get no signal. So Alexander Gustafsson might not even know that this has been changed.
No, he won't.
And the fighters are just finding out because the UFC have not got in contact with other fighters in the card. It's crazy. Like, it's never dull being a fan of Jon Jones, but it's getting a bit farcical now with the UFC doing this. And who knows, Jones might not even be in the wrong here, but
yeah, exactly. That's the thing. That's why it's wrong to point, because we know USADA in the past have caused people to get labels when there was no label to put on them. So
it's crazy. I'm trying to focus on the fight, but I'm actually really feeling for the people that are flying out to that event, because that is crazy news, and hopefully they can get reimbursed. And
Andy was going as well, mate.
Who?
AJ. Sorry, AJ was going
as well.
Yeah,
AJ
was going as well, mate.
Like I said, hopefully something happens and they get reimbursed, because they've got to get new tickets and new flights and new hotels and crazy stuff. But like you said, never dull being a fan of Jon Jones, and but try and concentrate on the fights if we can.
So yeah, gosh, it's been honest. So let's go to the betting. Well, now we've done the fights. You said before, you mentioned that you went for the cat for a bet, but is there any out there that you think might be worth potentially doing parlays with? Do you think it's just a straight bet kind of card?
I've got a parlay that I've had for about 6 weeks that finishes off actually with Jon Jones. I had Kevin Holland and Song Yadong on the Chinese card back in November, and I've got Jon Jones to finish that out. And then obviously I talked about Kat Zingano earlier on, but I think there's a lot of opportunity in this card for straight bets if you look into fights. Like, I've picked, I think Corey Anderson's an underdog, Carlos Condit's an underdog, Arlovski, I just don't think you can bet that guy's a bit of a flake. But the bets that I like I say, I like Chad Mendes, but then I reined it back. If I'm looking ahead, and I'll make those bets maybe in the next couple of days, it's I really feel like betting Carlos Condit, and I've not talked too highly of him in this podcast, but he's one of those guys that I think that the fight's going to be close, and I just have a feeling he's going to win this fight. Nathaniel Wood's another guy I like. I think the lines, he's a -105 favourite, so nearly an underdog.
Yeah,
so
nice.
Good odds, good price.
And that could change come Friday.
Yeah. And there's a couple other things I like, but nothing. For me, it looks like a straight bet kind of card. I think the last card for Milwaukee, I picked underdogs, and I think all of them won. And this one, it seems to be like close favourites is what I'm kind of liking. So, but like I say, I'll let you know, and you can pop them in when I make those plays later on. And there's a couple opportunities for parlays, like Peter Yan's a kind of parlay piece. I think Cyborg's one of those parlay pieces you can have. But I think there's many options you can kind of go with in this card. Nice.
Okay, there you go. So like Will said, when he gets them, I'll stick them in the comments below. One of the comments I noticed on YouTube, folks, was asking us to put our picks in for the week on. So obviously we had a previous request about asking to put the scores on from the previous week that we have, which I'll do. Obviously, I'll do that. But if someone have asked for our picks that we get, so if I pick, for example, Jones, and you pick Jones, so what I'll do is now stick John and Will next to Jones's name for the week. So I'll put our picks there. But yeah, by all means, folks, any comments? Anything you'd like us to maybe add that you think that would be cool, that you'd like to see in there, feel free to put it in there. And that is the bets for the week. Again, bet responsibly. If, like Will said in the previous podcast, if you are thinking that you might have a slight the addiction, feel free to drop us a message and privately, and we will happily support you in any way. But Will, before I let you go, bro, let's just round off the end of the year by saying, well, I want to say thanks very much, Will. I've had a great year with you, bro. I've loved it. I love it. And next year we're going to do more and hopefully get the internet working right so we can get bigger and better because it's been a bastard the past few months. But folks, thank you for everything as well, for the subscribing that you've been doing, for the likes, for the comments. Yeah, get us to 400.
We're 4 away from 400. Get it before the end of the year. Let's get us up to 400.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be throwing some tweets out to get some follow-up subscriptions on there, trying to get people on to give us a subscription. But again, seriously, from the bottom of my heart, everyone, it means a lot. We love doing this. Thank you for joining us this year. And next year, we've got to hopefully grow more and more and more. And we'll try and get, like I say, put more content out there. And we'll try to do some other little bits next year, add some new bits. But we won't be back for a few weeks, which is weird. Well, isn't it? Weird. Gosh, we're going to have like 2 or 3 weeks break. I think next card 19th, isn't it? Yeah, 19th. And then there's a break again because they've cancelled the pay-per-view card, haven't they? So we'll be back in 2 or 3 weeks or whatever it is. But until then, from me, thanks again. Have a great Christmas or festive period, because if you're not following Christmas, you might not do it. So have a great festive Christmas and the new year. Will, anything you want to say?
Yeah, just thanks for the support. Thanks for viewing. Thanks for commenting. Happy holidays. Enjoy your Christmas. Enjoy your new year if you're into that type of thing. I'm looking forward to this break because literally we've got the ESPN card, which is kicking off, which is the big thing for the UFC. Then we've got another little break for a week, I think. And then we've got like a straight run of like 12 events, 3 months worth of stuff. So the break's going to be much needed, but enjoy your Christmas, enjoy your new year. We'll be back in 2019. So take care and just we'll catch you all very, very soon.